there, everybody. This is TJ Fowler for Skullbanger Media. It is with great pleasure that I am getting to review the heavy metal board game, Cave Evil. And before I get started, I want to say a big thank you to the Emperors of Eternal Evil that took it upon themselves to send me a promo copy of this game to review. I know I said I was going to try to, I was wanting to make this review special since I am a heavy metal website and have like a cool theme going on and stuff like that. Guys, I tried to go outdoors and do it in the forest with the snow and making it look kind of bleak and stuff like that, but I couldn't do it. It just turned out bad. And I don't have anybody within the town I'm in that's got like any kind of props or anything that I can use conveniently. I got one friend, he lives in another city about 3 hours away, that's got some stuff, but it was going to take a long time before I could ever get the review done that way. And I didn't want to keep you guys waiting because I know you got this game to me. You took the time to do that for me, so I at least wanted to get the review done. Got some purple curtains, if that's cool. But anyway, I do apologize for that. But like I said, I wanted to get the review done and get it out to you. So with that being said, let's get to a little bit about what the game is about. And what it is, you take on the role of a necromancer, and your main goal is to achieve control over the Pit of Infinite Shadow, which is in the center of the game board here. Now, the game will have different objectives that you can try to get or complete as the game reveals itself, and one of them is that control the pit. But there's other things that can come out, and for good or bad, or usually bad. But so, like I said, you take on the role of a necromancer, and you're competing against other necromancers via the players, and you're trying to gain control of this cave. You're in a very dark subterranean dwelling up under the earth that's filled with gore and dead people, all this stuff. And what you can do, it's a squad-based game. So what you do, you basically build squads, summon creatures, kill the other necromancers, and win the game. And it's also possible for everybody to lose the game. So there are scenarios that if you don't do what you need to do, you can die. And the game is dark, it's bleak, it's metal. So with that being said, let's get to the overview of the game, and I'll come back with my opinions on it and see if I like Cave Evil or not. Okay, so what we have here is a basic setup for a two-player game. I figured that would be the easiest way to explain kind of what's going on. If you notice, well, you'll have these cards. These represent your necromancer squads. You got obviously the necromancer card that just showed you. And then you'll have cards like these that are labeled 1 through 5, and that will represent the squads that you can summon up. Now, if you notice out here, you got a necromancer in his layer here, and a necromancer in his layer right there. And what that is, you have a chthonic crystal that if it's destroyed, your necromancer also dies. So you got to be very careful about that. So there's different ways that you can win the game. You either kill all the necromancers, you complete the event scenario and win that way, or you destroy all the necromancer's chthonic crystals and kill them that way. There's also a possibility that everybody can die and nobody wins. So the game starts off by everybody selecting their necromancer, and that can vary. You can do it randomly or however you want to do it. And you got various kinds here. You got the Black Wizard, which fans of Emperor will recognize as a song from them. He comes with 2 mini Black Wizards that he can split into as the game goes on. And you got the Rotten Magi, the Psychomancer of Fire, the Blood Sorcerer, and the Ice Dead Sorceress, and we're back to the Black Wizard. So once you do that, you put your Necromancer card on top of your Necromancer squad card. Now, if you notice, the card has got all kinds of symbols and so on. These are his stats for each thing he can do. There's strength and spells and weapons and so on. His speed, the size of creature, if he's a spellcaster or not. And then he's got a one-time game ability he can do. Creatures in the game that you come into, a lot of them will have abilities as well. Now, all have stats and what they can carry and speed and so on. So, what happens when you start the game? There's 4 kinds of cards. You have Summoning, Construct, Bribe, and the Abyss. And each one has their own risks and challenges and so on. So at the beginning of the game, each Necromancer will start off with 2 bribes, a Construct, and a Summoning card. Now, to take a look at these cards, they all have various things. A lot of them will be creatures, like this one is a snake. Well, this is actually snake armor, which actually I think that is a creature. Okay, well, that's strange, but they'll have stats, and he's a trinket creature, so he's very small. Here's a bone giant, which is he's pretty bad news in some areas, and he's kind of weak in others. And he's a large. And there's an item. This is a slicer, which looks like some sort of crazy looking axe. And there's another one, chain of restriction, and so on. So to make an example, you draw these cards, and you also start out with various resources. There's 3 types of resources. There's gore, shadow flame, and metals. So you get to start out with a variation of those 3. You can take all 3 of one or mix it up however you want to. And there's little icons for those. Here's the gore resource. There's 5. So you start off with that. You start off with your hand of cards. You start out here, and then at the beginning of the game, you roll to spawn in each pit. There's a spawn card here. You roll a d4. It tells you what spawns, and then you roll it again to show you how much. If you roll a 4, you draw a card and put out a marker to represent what that card represents on the board. There's marker cards for that. And so you got 4 pits plus the pit of infinite shadow in the game. And so for sake of simplicity, let's say we roll all this stuff up. We get some spawns, shadow spawn there and here, and some gore over here, and metals here, and so on. And there might be a creature come out in one of them, and it's like this bone giant, for example. Say he came out right here, so we'd put a marker here for him and put the card out and put a marker representing the situational marker on the board. So you do that, and then each player takes their turn. The turn is obviously very important for each Necromancer. So let's say the Black Wizard, he starts his turn. He starts off, and he takes a Necromonk. You get one of these to start your game too. And there's a Necromonk, and he can dig. That's kind of an important part of the game, but that'll be in your hand as well. So the Necromancer on his turn, the first thing he does, he's allowed to draw a card over here from one of the decks, whether it's Summoning, Construct, Summoning, Construct, the Abyss, or Bribery. So you draw a card, and I'll draw one from the Abyss. So if it's a creature, you have the choice of keeping this creature and putting it in your hand, or as an option, down here at the bottom it shows these symbols for the resources in the game. Now, under normal circumstances, this is what it costs to summon this creature up on the Necromancer's turn. However, if you want, you can discard this card and take one of the resources at the bottom. So if you wanted the 2 Shadow Flame, you could kill this guy off and take 2 Shadow Flame, but not the gore. Or if you wanted the gore, you kill him off and you take the one gore and discard the 2 Shadow Flame. But let's say I wanted to keep him. All right, so we do that. And then on our next turn, or it's still our actual turn, you get a conjuration, which I just did, and then you do the squad actions. So there's a lot of different squad actions. Movement is not an action. You can move as much as your space is allowed on your card. Like the Black Wizard can move 3. So you can move 3. Say he moves down here to 3 spaces. And then you can do one of your actions. There's a lot of variations. There's a player aid card right here. But the main thing that a lot of people are going to do in this game is invoke creatures. That's how you build your squads up. So let's say, for example, we wanted to invoke this big bad hoss right here, this bone giant. All right. So what happens? You'd have to have 4 Shadow Flame and 2 gore. Now let's say we've got that, we paid in, and because he's a large creature, he's got to go in a squad by himself. Size of creatures matter a lot. Larges can only go in squads of their own. They can't have any other creatures in their squads. So what happens? You summon him up, and you put him on an empty squad card. If you don't have any squad cards that are empty, you can't summon anymore. But we'll say we'll put him on squad card number 1. We take its marker, and we put it out here next to the Necromancer. It's got to go adjacent to the Necromancer. So if the Necromancer had not moved before he invoked that creature, this creature that he just summoned now can move. So let's say he didn't move. This creature is able to move 4 spaces. So he can pop down for 1, 2, 3, 4. If he passes over any resources on the board, he gets to pick those up and so on. However, the Necromancer is the only thing in the game that can summon creatures. So technically the other creatures are kind of like pack mules until you can exchange items and so on. So you do this throughout the game and take your turns. Each time you summon a creature, this little red orb on the board goes up to the next abyss square and so on. So as the game goes on, you're trying to do all this stuff, build up your squads and stay alive. Also at the beginning of the game, I forgot to mention this, you're going to pick actually a scenario in which has to be accomplished that you won't know until the red bead here gets to a certain part of the board where you reveal what has to be accomplished and what you have to do. And there's different ones. There is the black old goat, evil black old goat, eternal evil emperor, pit of infinite shadow, darkest evil bitch, and the darkest statue of death. And when those cards reveal, they'll tell you what you got to do to win the game. And so that happens each time you summon a creature. This goes across the board faster and faster and reveals things and so on. And any events that come out of your deck you have to resolve at the end of the Necromancer's turn. And those can be bad or good. And you also have options to dig. And digging is an important part of the game. It basically lets you put out new tiles and explore. And what happens, you draw a dig card. And you put some rocks on it. Put 3 rocks. And according to the dig capability of the squad doing it, you take off an extra rock each turn. If your squad's only got 1 dig ability, you take 1 off. Wait another turn, take another off until 3 turns are up. If you got a squad capability of 4, you can wipe them all off at once. You reveal it, new tile comes out, and sometimes you reveal some bad news. You get these protectors, and they come out and they start throwing down, and sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad. And the next thing I need to talk about is the combat, which is also very important. If you noticed on these cards, you got these stats all around. So when combat occurs, you have to be adjacent to each other. Usually, this guy's got a range, but I'm not going to get into that. So what happens, you take a squad and all the creatures in the squad and fight each other. So what happens is, say, let's see, let me pull this little ghost guy out. So say the Necromancer squad was fighting this bone giant. And if you're the attacker, you pick what stat you want to use. So say the Necromancer attacks first, so he's going to add he's wanting to use his spell points, so he'll add 12 plus 8, and he will be fighting the Bone Giants 15. So what happens, each side rolls a 12-sided dice, and you add it to the total of the combined scores. So the Necromancer would have a 12 plus 8, which is 20, and then he would add whatever his result is on a 12-sided dice and get that. Same for the Bone Giant, he would add his result to the 15. Whoever wins takes round 1, and then the defender gets to choose his next stat, but he's got to choose, the defender has to choose an adjacent stat to the first stat that was rolled. So he'd have to choose either the strength or the dodge or whatever that is there. And then they roll again. So if the Bone Giant wins, he goes to a 3rd round. If he loses, he's dead, he blows up and leaves a certain amount of gore on the space. So it's the best 2 out of 3 is how that works. So that's combat. You can also use combat instead of fighting. If you got the resources down here when fighting a creature that's not in another Necromancer squad, you can bribe them and get them to join you by paying the cost. Or you can just beat them into submission. If you beat a wandering monster, you can say, I want to beat him into submission, and then he joins the squad for you. So there's that too. So there's the basic overview of the game. You're trying to kill other Necromancers and gain control of the Pit of Infinite Shadow, or whatever the event horizon is, whether that's the darkest old bitch or whatever that may be. The Emperor of Eternal Evil is bad news. He's got 66 on all his stats, so you really got to be well prepared to fight him. And you either do that or kill everybody else. And that's a basic overview of the game. And let's get to my opinions right now. Okay, so that was the game overview. Now, I believe you probably heard me mention that the game has got a lot of unique artwork on the cards. That's the first thing I want to start off with, and what I think is very cool about the game. Each card, the artwork on it is unique, and there is a lot of cards. So that really says something. I think that's pretty cool. Even if it's an identical creature that you run into, the artwork is different. Even the stats for the creatures are different, even if they're identical creatures. So to me, that makes it a little bit more of a varied, cool factor to the game, a unique factor, I think. And so that was very cool. Another cool aspect of the game is, well, I mean, there's heavy metal references or whatnot in the game, which is very cool. Like I mentioned, you got the Black Wizard, which is the Necromancer that you can be in the game, and that's a reference to Emperor, the black metal band from Norway, and one of their songs. And there's other stuff as well. And so I really like the theme. It's a theme that you're not going to take to Sunday school to let the children play, but maybe you could take it to your midnight Sabbath and let the children play there. But the game's very cool. I like that it's mechanically wise. It's very solid. You build your squads up. The rules are pretty clear overall. At first it seemed a little eccentric to me, but I just had to get familiar with the rules, and that shouldn't be a turnoff. Sometimes I have problems with rules in games. It's not the game's fault. It's actually pretty clear once you kind of see how to run it a little bit. But they're very concise. They're very easy. The combat's very, very easy, and it's kind of cool how that works. It's almost like a strange paper, rock, scissors variation almost, or that's how I equate it, I guess. But best 2 out of 3 scenario. I like how you can dig deeper into the cave and discover even more evil stuff coming out. And the game, I compared it before to Advanced Squad Leader for Metalheads. That's somewhat accurate. It's not complicated like Advanced Squad Leader, but it's cool that you make monsters and you make squads of monsters to go out and salvage resources and stuff to build up your army and control the game board. And as mentioned, if you don't control the event horizon scenario, everybody can lose. So I like the game mechanics. My game group, we played it several times, and I still want to play it some more. I still feel there's a depth to this game that we've not achieved yet, but we've all liked it. There's one girl, she seemed to not like it, but she was busy playing on her phone or something. I don't know. But so it's a very positive experience. Now, I do want to point out a few negatives, and they're minor, but I do want to point out a few. First of all, with the components, the big one is the game board is made out of just paper. It's got a hexagon on it with some artwork on it, but it's made out of paper. So if you're not careful, if you're having a game night, you got some buddies over, they get drunk or something, spill beer on it, it could ruin your game board. If you get the game, you might want to put some sort of protective thing on it or something. That's up to you. But that's one negative. And another one, and I've seen this before, is about the artwork being dark. And I don't mean dark themed. I mean it's kind of dark to see kind of what the artwork is. And the big problem I saw with this was on the spawn roll diagram. When you have to put a card out, sometimes it's kind of hard to see exactly what the card is. And but that's minor stuff. It's not. It doesn't make the game unplayable or anything like that. And the artwork is pretty gruesome. Speaking of dark, not only is it dark in some places hard to see, but it's dark themed. So, and in terms of gameplay, if there's a negative, and I actually talked to the creators of this about it a little bit, and this is due to probably some players if they want to be reckless or just go out real fast. If you don't build your squad up, you can get out and your Necromancer can die pretty fast that way. And then it's game over. And we had some games go pretty quick, and I was like, man, are we not playing this game right, or something? It seems like it ends too quick. But really, what you need to do, you need to kind of sit back and be careful, build up your squads, have some strength, and then go out. And again, that's due to maybe my recklessness as playing or whatnot. But like I said, I think there's more depth to this game than what we've got to achieve yet. We've played it about 3 times. We're wanting to play it more because it's been very successful. I recommend it. The game even comes with, they come with their heavy metal soundtrack. They ship cassettes with their music on it, which is pretty cool. And so if you get a chance to get this game, it's kind of rare. They've done a second printing that they funded, and if you get a chance, grab it. It might be a little pricey. I know it's a very small group of guys making the game, so I understand they can't distribute cost out like maybe a bigger publishing house or whatever. But the game is good. It's fun. If you're a metal fan and you like these kind of themes, give it a shot. They got a website. I'll put all the notes in the video notes here, about how to link up and all this stuff. But I like it. It's Cave Evil. I'll let you check it out right there. And highly recommend it. Go give it a go. Thanks.